Yeah, so my mom is a refugee from Laos. She's a Hmong refugee, and so my mom immigrated to the U.S. when she was 3 with her younger brother who was 1 and her older brother who was 4, and obviously my grandparents. And then my dad immigrated in the 80s from the Philippines with his dad and his mom.
I mean, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Tbilisi, Ukraine. I lived there for 5 years, and then I came to the United States. So that's kind of a topic that's always been on my mind. I'm always like in support of immigrants and their struggles coming here. And so like politically, there's an interest there. There's a big community of Ukrainian Americans in the United States that I'm a part of as well. And so there's a lot of discussion around that and that sort of thing.
SPA has been very inclusive and has been very progressive in wanting to learn about immigration and also like outside cultures that they're not very familiar with. And so I think SPA has done a good job at like facilitating that and also being willing to like spread stories like through the Rubicon and things like that.
Of an impact at SPA, people don't really talk about it. And like most people are just kind of surprised that I was born in another country, and then nobody really remembers or cares. I remember like it's an important part of my identity. So I always remember when I tell somebody that, and then I'll see them like, oh, I didn't know that, but I remember telling them before, and so that is kind of an inkling, but it's not a big deal to me.
So in Minnesota, there's a large Hmong population because typically Hmong people travel in clans, and so a lot of them immigrated to Minnesota, and so I have very strong ties with them. I'm often, hanging out with my cousins, and also my parents are very have immersed me in Hmong culture through like all of the restaurants that are here and also speaking. And so I think, especially at Hmong Village, there's like a place called Hmong Village where they have like stores and just a lot of Hmong culture that they've brought through immigration. And so I think definitely I have very strong ties to my community. And regarding the Filipino community, there's not as big of a population here, but um, they've done a great job also of creating like a strong, close-knit Filipino community where we talk about culture and history and learn the language. And so, yeah, I think outside of SPA, it's definitely more broad, but I bring those values with me as I learn at SPA.
I have kind of a weird status as being born there when there's a lot of Ukrainians in the community that were born here with Ukrainian parents, um, as well as kind of feeling my interest in Ukrainian politics and what's going on over there with Russia, and talking to people about Ukraine's conflict with Russia, I guess. Yeah, so I dance at the Ukrainian American Center in Minneapolis, and so we do a lot of dances. We have a lot of events in the spring, summer, and fall. A lot of festivals where there's a band, and there's dumplings and pierogi, cabbage rolls, and there's all different age groups doing dances or performances, singing, everybody being together. Um, Going to church on Sundays to an Eastern Orthodox church is a big part of the culture, and that's where the community sees each other every Sunday. Um, and it's kind of a long, boring service where you have to stand or kneel for most of it, and it kind of sucks. So I joined the choir so that I can sing and kind of have a more enjoyable time besides just standing and sitting and listening to a language that I only half understand for 2 to 3 hours. And then we eat, and there's a ping pong table, and it's great.